Yesterday, I think, was really for us an eye-opening day, and by us I mean you, about what countries are doing. We saw some very good systems in place. We worked through some issues about how we work together, how the sectors that are involved in One Health work together. And I think we began with the matrices that we used to begin to look more inside what we're trying to do and how we will achieve the aims of One Health. We're going to move on today to, I suppose, get a little bit closer to what really counts and what really matters by using some examples. And Petra will introduce that in a minute. I hope you've had time to reflect on all of the issues that arose yesterday, and I hope you're going to build them in to what you do today. The issues that arose were really about communication strategies, about veterinary health and environment working together at local level. And you've probably been thinking about ways to improve that. We also discovered yesterday that everybody's been working on Ebola virus plans for their country and have put things in place and beginning to look at how countries can work together, share information, share plans, so that each country knows what the other countries are doing. So I think we had a good grounding yesterday. I, for one, was very impressed by what you have done already. It's what, in a way, I expected from MBDS, because I know of your work, and of APIA, because I know of your work together that you have achieved already.
And thank you for everyone for the introductions and orientation you gave us in regards to how the systems work. I think yesterday a lot of the focus was on describing the structures from the community level to the national level and the interactions between the countries and also with other international agencies. And I think we got a lot of insights into the strengths of the systems, and we began to talk a little bit about what some of the challenges were in the systems. I think the point you raised about the fact that there's an imbalance between sort of public health or health aspects and the animal health aspects and the certainly the ecological or environmental aspects, which in terms of One Health, we're talking about the integration of all of those, that we still need to identify and get a better sense of how those different aspects work together. And I would hope that through the exercises today that we'll begin to start looking more, not so much as the structures as the process that we're following. How are we working? And in particular, looking at how we deal with some of the obstacles or challenges of these relationships between the different sectors. And most importantly, how you're overcoming some of those obstacles, how you're creatively finding solutions or way forward. Because you're working in some of the most challenging environments. And you're also dealing with these issues with minimal resources often. And I think that's information that we'd love to capture, to find, so that we describe, because as we talked about in the beginning, our aim is really to sort of help tell the story of how One Health is functioning in this region and within your countries and stuff. So through the exercises today, if we can really focus on just the processes that we're following in addressing some of these outbreak challenges that we'll be talking about, how we are able to work together, or where the difficulties are, and maybe the different in the different countries, some have been more successful than others in terms of overcoming some of those, so that we can learn from each other in those regards. I'm still struck by some of the discussion we were having about, how to engage people at the hamlet or community level in terms of reporting on animal health issues, if they're more oriented on human health issues, and some of the countries talked about good informal relations. What does that mean exactly? How do we develop those relations so that those kinds of information is shared and moved up the stream and enhances the functioning of systems? So as we work through the exercises, really looking at describing the process. Yesterday, in a lot of the report backs and stuff, we presented you with a matrix to help with the thinking in terms of how to describe the systems. Almost everybody chose to sort of fill in the matrix and report on what fit into the boxes. I think that was very useful in terms of getting the picture of the structure. But in just looking at the boxes, we miss sometimes how the process that went into creating that system, and again, how we dealt with the various challenges related to those communication issues from level to level. So today we really want to try to capture that notion of the process, and we'll also present some matrices to help with the thinking. But I think in terms of reporting from the groups, we don't have to stick to just filling in the matrix. We want to find some more creative ways of expressing how that process works. So we're going to throw that challenge to you in terms of, as we work through the group work today, finding ways of describing how you address the challenges of some of these outbreak issues, and within the context of a One Health approach, your understanding of the One Health approach.
Following the introduction of Nigel about the One Health approach, and Franklin to focus more on the process, we would like to play today in 3 groups, and they have 3 different scenarios to work through, but they function in a similar way. They start with a situation, and you are asked to describe your actions, and you use the matrix of yesterday, like information, communication, and coordination, like the easy start, just to structure what do you do in terms of information, communication, coordination. Then, in terms of focusing more on the process, we would like to encourage you to think about what would you like to change in this. I mean, you can describe what you would do, and how can you achieve this? What needs to be changed in order to function a bit better than before? And for this, we use a matrix. I call this is a matrix of change. And you focus on different sectors, because we would like to focus on sectoral, multi-sectoral collaboration. And I take your comment that there's an imbalance of sectors here. We are pretty much health sector. And in order to focus on other sectors, or trying to adopt the perspective of other sectors, you are asked to think from a perspective of a trade sector. And the trade sector is asked, what would you like, what is the current situation in this scenario? And you describe this current situation. Then you are asked, what would you like to change? What is the desired situation? And this is a fantastic opportunity for you to say, what should be there? What would I like to have in place as a desired situation? And then comes a difficult question. The difficult question is indicators of change. So how can you tell that this changes? And I give you an example. I'll give you an example of a health sector because it's easy. So the current situation in H7 and 9, for example, as a health sector is sometimes you feel that people don't trust you, they don't report to you. Yeah, and the current situation would be probably people don't trust the health officials. What would be the desired situation? People trust health officials. And then the difficult question, how could you tell that they trust you? Probably they tell you something that they don't tell others. Yeah? So these are the indicators of change. And the last question is this, what do you need to do to make this happen? And this is a difficult one. So what do you need to do to make people tell you what they don't tell others? And this is where we really need your expertise and your inside knowledge to address all these questions. So this is the matrix of change. So do you describe the current situation, you describe the desired situation, you identify indicators of change. So how can you tell that this changes? And then how can you achieve this as an intervention? And we would like you to develop the plan for this situation, not using a PowerPoint presentation. We would like you to either present orally or use flip charts or do whatever you feel is appropriate, but probably not filling in boxes. We would like to hear about the process and what you developed as a solution or concept or intervention plan or whatever you can come up with.